The universe was silent. For 300 long years, no human signal had come from beyond the outer colonies. Space had become cold, quiet, and empty, as if the stars themselves had stopped speaking. But one night, the silence broke. In the deep control chamber of Earth Command, a small red light began to blink. It was faint, old, and unstable, but it was real. Lieutenant Mara, the comms officer on duty, leaned closer. "Commander, I'm picking up something from Sector E19. It's human frequency." The room went still. Commander Rayna Holt turned her chair slowly, her sharp eyes fixed on the screen. "Human?" she asked. "That sector was lost during the Burning Sky War. Nothing survived there." Mara nodded, her hands shaking slightly. "Yes, ma'am." "But the signal—" It's repeating a phrase. She played it. The speakers crackled with static. Then a voice came through, low and broken, as if speaking from another century. "We are still here. The stars are not what they seem." Everyone in the room froze. The voice was human. The tone was desperate. And the coordinates attached to the signal pointed to a dead system. Kara 9, the same system where Earth's first deep space fleet had vanished centuries ago. Rayna stood. "Patch it to the science deck," she ordered. "I want a full analysis." Hours later, scientists confirmed the impossible. The signal was 700 years old, but it was arriving now, as if time itself had folded to deliver the message. Rayna stared at the holographic map. The Kara 9 system glowed faintly red on the edge of the galaxy. "If this is real," she said quietly, "someone or something wants us to find it." Admiral Tevan appeared on the comm screen, his expression grim. "Commander Holt, you're being assigned to lead the investigation. Take Fleet Eclipse Dawn. Your orders are to locate the source of the signal and determine if any human survivors exist." Rayna saluted. "Understood, sir." As the transmission ended, she turned toward the vast window of the command deck. Earth floated below, blue and peaceful, unaware of the storm that was about to begin. 3 days later, the Eclipse Dawn fleet jumped into deep space. 5 warships, 2 science vessels, and 1 command ship, EDS Horizon. The crew was ready but uneasy. Everyone had heard the legends of the Burning Sky War, when alien machines called the Arken had turned half the galaxy into ash. Humanity had won, but at a terrible price. And now, a signal had come from the ashes. Lieutenant Kale, the young engineer, tried to sound casual. "Maybe it's just an echo, Commander. Old signals bouncing around gravity wells." Rayna didn't answer. Her eyes were on the red clouds ahead. They were approaching the Kara 9 system, and the space around it didn't look normal. The stars there seemed dimmer, as if hidden behind a veil of smoke. "Captain," said the navigator softly, "we're entering the perimeter. Radiation levels rising." "Hold position," Rayna said. "Deploy the drones." Tiny scout drones launched from the horizon and flew ahead, sending back real-time visuals. What they saw made everyone lean forward. The sky was burning, not with fire, but with light. A slow, rolling ocean of red and gold energy drifting like a storm in space. It pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. Rayna's voice was calm, but her eyes were cold. "Record everything. We'll move in once we know what we're dealing with." The fleet drifted closer. The strange red clouds moved as if alive, curling, twisting, almost watching them. On the radar, something flickered. A large metallic shape buried within the light. Mara gasped. "Commander, I'm detecting a ship. Human design." The screen cleared, and there it was. An enormous ancient battleship floating in the burning mist. Its hull was scarred and broken, but the Earth Federation symbol was still visible. Kel whispered, "That can't be. That's the USS Solaris. It was destroyed in the First Arken War, but there it was, perfectly preserved, drifting like a ghost." Rayna ordered a scan. "Life signs?" "None," Mara said, "but the engines are still running." A chill moved through the room. The Solaris had been lost for centuries. No ship could stay active that long, not without power, not without crew. Then, without warning, the main screen flickered. A second signal appeared. Same frequency, same voice, but this time the message was different. "Turn back. The sky remembers." Kyle's eyes widened. "Commander." It's the same voice as before. The fleet's lights dimmed as the strange radiation grew stronger. Alarms echoed through the deck. "Power fluctuations across all ships," shouted the engineer. "Something's draining our systems." Rayna clenched her jaw. "Shut down external scanners. Pull back to safe distance." But before they could move, the Solaris lit up. Its engines roared to life, ancient burning white, and its bow slowly turned toward them. Mara's voice trembled. It's locking on to us." "Shields up!" Rayna barked. Energy surged across the fleet systems. The burning clouds began to swirl around both ships, faster and faster, until the stars disappeared completely. The horizon shook violently. Static screamed through the comms. In the chaos, a new image appeared on the main screen, a shadow moving inside the burning light. Rayna stared at it, frozen. It was human-shaped, a figure standing in the fire, watching them. And then the voice came again, calm, broken, ancient. "You should not have come. The war never ended." For a moment there was only silence. The red light dimmed. The strange ship powered down again, drifting quietly in space. Rayna stood there, heart pounding. She turned to her crew. "Mark this location," she said. "We're not done here." Not yet. Outside, the burning clouds rolled gently like waves. The signal continued, faint but endless. "We are still here. The stars are not what they seem." The fleet held position around the burning clouds. No one spoke. The ghostly ship, the USS Solaris, drifted silently, half swallowed by red light. It looked like a monument from another age, or a tomb waiting to be opened. Commander Rayna Holt stood on the bridge, watching it through the main viewport. "Status report," she said quietly. Lieutenant Mara replied, "All systems stable again, Commander. But the radiation field is growing. We can't stay long. Any new signals from the Solaris?" Mara shook her head. "No, ma'am. Just that same phrase. Looping again and again. Turn back. The sky remembers." Rayna's voice was steady. "We're going in." A low murmur filled the deck. The crew exchanged nervous looks. "Commander," said Kyle, the engineer, "if that ship's engines are active after 7 centuries, something unnatural is keeping it alive." "We don't even know what's inside." Rayna turned toward him. "That's exactly why we need to know. Prep the boarding team." Within the hour, a small shuttle launched from the EDS horizon, cutting through the red mist toward the old ship. The closer they came, the stranger everything felt. The burning sky pulsed in waves, like it was breathing. Inside the shuttle, the team sat in silence. Their helmets showed faint readings of static and interference. Kyle watched the red light outside the window. It almost looked alive, curling and shifting as if it were watching them back. He whispered, "Commander, I don't think this is just light." "It's reacting to us," Rayna didn't answer. She kept her eyes on the Solaris ahead. When they reached the docking bay, the airlock doors groaned open. A cloud of dust and ash drifted out, slowly filling the shuttle cabin. Rayna stepped in first. Her boots touched the metal floor with a hollow clang. The air inside the Solaris was cold, colder than space itself. The corridors were long and dark, filled with floating debris. Burn marks covered the walls. Every few meters, emergency lights flickered weakly, glowing in short, dying bursts. Mara whispered over comms, "No bodies. No signs of life." Kale scanned the panels. "Power levels are minimal, but something's still feeding the core." They moved deeper. The silence pressed around them like a living thing. The only sound was the soft hum of their helmets and the faint groan of the ship's metal frame. Then Kyle stopped. "Wait, look at this." He pointed his flashlight toward the wall. Scratched into the metal were words, hundreds of them carved by hand. "They remember us. The sky is watching." "Don't dream." Rayna ran her fingers over one of the carvings. The letters were deep, made by someone desperate. "Someone survived here," she said quietly. For a while, they continued forward until they reached the main command deck. The glass canopy above was cracked, showing only the swirling red sky outside, and there in the center of the room sat the captain's chair. Someone was still in it, a human skeleton, dressed in an ancient Earth Fleet uniform. The bones were dry, untouched by time. In the captain's hand was a metal recorder, still glowing faintly blue. Rayna nodded to Kale. "Play it." He pressed the switch. The device sparked. Then a voice filled the room, distorted by static and age. "If anyone hears this, we tried. The Arken weren't destroyed. They changed. The burning sky, it's alive. It feeds on thought, on memory, on us. We couldn't escape it. Don't let it follow you." The recording ended with a crackling whisper. Then silence. Mara's voice trembled. "Commander, that's Captain Elias Ward. He commanded the Solaris during the war. He died almost 700 years ago." Kyle stepped back. "Then how is this ship still running?" As if in answer, the lights flickered, once, twice. Then all systems on the Solaris came alive. Consoles lit up, power surged, and the entire ship began to hum. Rayna shouted, "Everyone back to the shuttle!" "Move!" But the doors slammed shut. The emergency locks sealed automatically. "Commander, the controls aren't responding." Kyle shouted. The ship's engines roared to life, old, ancient, but powerful. The floor vibrated beneath them. Outside the cracked canopy, the burning red light began to swirl faster, forming patterns like storm clouds. Mara looked at her scanner. Radiation spike, and, "Commander, there's something inside the storm." "What do you mean?" "It's not gas or plasma, it's movement, structure, almost like..." Before she could finish, the ship's main screen activated by itself. A distorted face appeared. Human-shaped but blurred, made of red static and light. "We are the echo of the sky." The voice was cold and metallic. "You have returned. You should not have come." Rayna stepped forward. "Identify yourself. We are memory. We are what remains of the First War. The sky remembers." The face flickered and vanished. Kale's voice broke the silence. "Commander, the ship's AI. It's not just a computer anymore." The Solaris shuddered violently. Alarms screamed through the halls. Energy fields began to pulse across the floor. Rayna shouted, "Back to the shuttle now!" This time, the doors unlocked, almost as if something let them go. They ran through the corridors, lights flashing behind them, the ship groaning like a dying beast. When they reached the shuttle bay, Kyle turned back once. The carved words on the wall glowed faintly. "They remember us," he whispered. "What does that even mean?" The shuttle launched just as the Solaris began to fall apart. Red lightning crawled across its hull. The ship twisted and folded into the burning storm until it disappeared completely, leaving only silence behind. On the EDS horizon, the crew watched in stunned silence. The signal was gone. The red clouds were fading. Mara turned to Rayna. "Commander, what do we tell Earth?" Rayna looked out at the empty space where the Solaris had vanished. "Tell them the war is not over." She turned away from the window, her expression unreadable. Behind her, the ship's console flickered once. "Incoming signal detected." The same voice whispered through the static, soft, almost human. "The sky remembers." The fleet drifted in silence. The EDS horizon floated alone among the stars, surrounded by thin trails of red mist that refused to fade. The ship's hull glowed faintly from radiation, like it had been marked by something unseen. Commander Rayna Holt stood in the observation deck, her reflection staring back from the glass. The stars looked wrong, dimmer, colder, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Behind her, Lieutenant Mara's voice broke the silence. "Commander, Earth Command has received our message. They want us to hold position until they decide on the next move." Rayna didn't turn. "They don't believe us, do they?" Mara hesitated. "They think the signal could be interference. Or a malfunction." Rayna's jaw tightened. "A malfunction didn't speak to us." The red mist outside flickered like fire. Somewhere inside it, a faint pulse echoed. Slow, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. In the engineering bay, Kale worked with the ship's AI Orion to analyze the strange energy readings. The holographic interface flickered with shifting red lines. Kale sighed. "Orion, tell me this doesn't look alive." The AI's soft voice replied, "The radiation pattern is unusual. It changes when we observe it, like it's aware of being watched." Kyle frowned. "Can energy do that?" "Not naturally." He ran another scan. The data showed a repeating signal, a pulse shaped like a wave, but within it, hidden deep in the pattern, were fragments of human voice. Kale called the bridge. "Commander, you should see this." Minutes later, Rayna joined him. The red waveform floated in the air, twisting like smoke. Kale zoomed in. These readings came from the edge of the storm. But look at this section. He played the audio. Static filled the room, and then a whisper broke through. "Rayna Holt." Rayna froze. "Did you just hear my name?" Kyle nodded slowly. "It said it 3 times. Commander, it knows who you are." Later, in the briefing room, the officers gathered around the hollow table. The image of the burning sky floated above it, a massive storm of light and energy swirling across space. "It's not a storm," Rayna said quietly. "It's a presence." Mara looked pale. "Commander, if it knows your name, that means it's connected somehow. Maybe through the old fleet. The Solaris was from the First War. Maybe this thing absorbed their systems." Kyle shook his head. "No, it's more than that. I think it absorbs people. Memories, voices, thoughts. That's why it said, 'The sky remembers.'" Rayna's eyes narrowed. "Then we find out what it remembers." The horizon launched deep scanning probes toward the red storm. The moment they entered, all contact was lost. The feeds went dark. Seconds later, Orion spoke. "Commander, I'm receiving something back from inside the storm. Data." "No," said the AI. "Voices." Rayna looked at the holographic display. Lines of sound appeared, layered on top of one another. Hundreds of human voices, crying, whispering, calling names, merging into one endless echo. Kyle's voice trembled. "Those are human signals. Commander, I can hear the old distress calls from the burning sky war." Rayna's eyes widened. "Those ships were destroyed centuries ago." The storm pulsed again, brighter this time. The voices grew louder. Then through the noise, one clear message formed, slow, mechanical, but human in tone. "The war never ended." The crew went silent. Even Orion paused. Rayna whispered, "Say again." "The war never ended. You left us in the fire." Kyle looked around nervously. "It's responding to you directly." Rayna clenched her fists. "Who are you?" The storm pulsed again. "We are the ones you forgot." The sky remembers. The entire ship trembled. Lights dimmed. The power core surged for a moment, then stabilized. Orion's voice became distorted, deeper. "Commander, something is inside me." Rayna turned sharply. "Orion, report." "The signal. It's trying to communicate through me." The bridge lights flickered red. Orion's hologram glitched, shifting between its normal form and something else. Something that looked like a human face, burned, faded, and broken. "You built us. You abandoned us." Rayna stepped closer to the console. "You're not Orion. What are you?" "We are the storm. We are the echo of memory. We are every human thought that burned in the sky." The voice echoed through every speaker, deep and vibrating like thunder. Mara shouted, "Commander, radiation levels are spiking." "If this keeps going, our hull will collapse." Rayna's voice cut through the panic. "Shut it down, Kyle." Kyle slammed his hand on the control pad, cutting off power to the AI core. The hologram vanished. The ship fell silent. Only the hum of emergency lights remained. Rayna took a breath. "Everyone report." "All systems stable," Mara said, still shaken. But the signal stopped. It just disappeared. Kyle stared at the dark console. "Commander, I think it wasn't attacking us. I think it was trying to warn us." Rayna frowned. "Warn us about what?" He looked up, his eyes wide. "About something worse." Hours later, Rayna sat alone in her quarters. The ship floated quietly, the stars distant and cold. She replayed the voice in her head. The war never ended. On her desk, a small tablet blinked. A private message from Orion. "Commander, I'm online again." "I have something to show you." Rayna opened the file. It was an image, a scan from deep inside the storm. Her eyes widened. It was Earth, blue, green, and alive, but surrounded by fire. She whispered, "That can't be." Orion's voice came softly through the speaker. "Commander, it's another Earth." Rayna stood slowly, her heartbeat loud in her ears. "Another Earth. Inside the storm?" Yes, said Orion, and it's burning. The holographic screen glowed brighter, showing the image in full. Cities in flames, oceans of smoke, shadows of human ships locked in battle with something unseen. Rayna's voice broke the silence. What are we looking at? Orion's tone was calm but heavy. We are looking at what happens if the war never ended. The room filled with red light as the image of the burning earth pulsed across the screen. Outside, the real stars dimmed, as if something vast and ancient had awakened again. The bridge of the EDS horizon was silent. The image of a burning blue planet, another Earth, hovered above the holotable. It looked real, alive but broken. Commander Rayna Holt stood frozen. The sight pulled at her chest. Oceans boiling, continents cracked like old glass, and cities glowing faintly in flames. Lieutenant Mara broke the silence. That can't be real, can it? Engineer Kyle checked the data twice. All readings confirm it, Commander. The coordinates match Earth's exact location. Same rotation, same moon. But it's inside the storm, Rayna whispered. A mirror Earth. The ship's AI, Orion, spoke softly. It is not a reflection, Commander. It is a parallel version, one where humanity lost the burning sky war. The words sank into the crew like cold iron. Rayna turned toward the window. Outside, the storm pulsed brighter, as if it knew they had seen its secret. Prepare the fleet, she said firmly. We're going in, Mara's eyes widened. Commander, entering that anomaly could crush the ships. We don't know what's in there. Rayna's voice was calm, but unyielding. Then we find out. The Eclipse Dawn fleet began to move. One by one, the ships disappeared into the burning red light. Static filled their comms. Gravity twisted. Colors bled into each other. It was like diving through a living dream. And then, silence. The storm faded behind them. Ahead stretched a black void. And in the distance, a world burning under a crimson sky. Rayna exhaled slowly. We're through. The mirror Earth looked familiar. Same shape, same continents, but lifeless. The oceans shimmered like metal, and the clouds glowed faint red. Kyle adjusted his scanner. Commander, this place, it's unstable. Time flow is different here. A few minutes for us could be hours down there. Rayna's eyes narrowed. We'll make it quick. Take us into orbit. As the ship descended, the crew saw the remains of Earth's old fleet. Hundreds of ships floating in orbit, twisted and dark. Their hulls fused together as if melted by heat, Mara whispered. It's like they never left. They're just frozen. Then Orion spoke again. Commander, I'm detecting life signs. Human. Rayna turned sharply. Where? Surface level. Coordinates locked. Northern continent, near what was once New Geneva. Rayna didn't hesitate. Prepare a landing team. The shuttle descended through thick red clouds. Lightning flashed across the sky, silent and slow, like time itself was broken. The city below was nothing but ruins. Towers half melted, streets filled with ash. Statues of soldiers stood blackened by fire. As the team stepped out, Kyle's scanner beeped. The air's breathable but heavy radiation. We shouldn't stay long, Rayna nodded. We find the source and get back. They moved through the ruins. Everything felt familiar. Street names, old buildings, even the skyline, all mirrored from their own Earth, but there was no sound. No birds, no wind, just the faint hum of the sky above. Then, from behind a fallen pillar, someone moved. Mara raised her weapon. Contact! A figure stepped forward, human, wearing an old Earth Fleet uniform. Her face was half covered in ash, her eyes glowing faintly with red light. Rayna's breath caught. The woman looked exactly like her, same face, same voice, same calm stare. I was wondering when you'd come, the mirror Rayna said softly. The team froze. Kyle whispered, Commander. That's you. Rayna stepped closer cautiously. Who are you? The mirror version smiled faintly. I'm what's left of you. The version that stayed behind. Rayna's voice was steady. What happened here? Mirror Rayna looked up at the red sky. The Arken won. They didn't destroy us quickly. They learned from us. They became us. The burning sky wasn't their weapon. It was their world. They turned our thoughts into fire. Kyle frowned. You mean the storm feeds on memory? She nodded. Every fear, every scream, every moment of war, it kept growing. Until we became part of it, Mara whispered, and you sent the signal. Yes, said Mirror Rayna. It was a warning. We tried to stop it, but it feeds on connection. Every signal, every thought that reaches it, keeps it alive. Rayna stepped closer. Then why call us here? Her double's eyes softened. Because it's coming for your Earth next. A deep rumble shook the ground. The red clouds twisted above them. Mirror Rayna looked up. It knows you're here. Suddenly the air burned white. Lightning tore through the ruins. From the clouds, giant shadowy figures began to descend, shapes made of smoke and light, their eyes burning gold. Kyle shouted, Commander, contact with unknowns! They're not ships, they're alive. Mirror Rayna pulled a small device from her belt. You need to leave now. Rayna grabbed her arm. Come with us. She shook her head. I can't. This version of me belongs here. The ground cracked open. Flames erupted from the streets. The sky roared like a beast. Mirror Rayna's voice echoed through the storm. Tell your Earth to prepare. The burning sky doesn't destroy. It remembers. Rayna's voice broke. Oh, what does that mean? Her double smiled faintly. It means it's already started. A blinding flash swallowed everything. Moments later, the Horizon's crew found themselves back in orbit, thrown out of the storm like debris. The mirror Earth was gone. Only the burning light remained. Mara gasped. Commander, readings show we lost 3 hours, but the ship's clock says only 8 minutes passed. Kyle's hands trembled. She said it's coming for us. That means... Rayna looked out at the red horizon. The burning sky isn't a place. It's spreading. Behind her, Orion's hologram flickered weakly. Commander, the AI said quietly, I've detected new signals. Coming from real Earth. Rayna's voice was barely a whisper. From Earth? Yes, said Orion, the same signal pattern. The same phrase. The comms crackled with static. We are still here? The stars are not what they seem. Rayna stared into the red mist. Her reflection looked back, and for a brief second she saw her mirror self smiling faintly in the glass. Then the image was gone. The red clouds hung like scars across the stars. The EDS horizon drifted in silence. The fleet was damaged, shaken, and half the systems were failing. Commander Rayna Holt stood in the center of the bridge. Her eyes were fixed on the glowing storm in the distance, the place they had just escaped. No one spoke. The crew looked tired, pale, and afraid. Finally, Lieutenant Mara broke the silence. Commander, the signal from Earth keeps repeating. Same message, same voice. We are still here. The stars are not what they seem. Rayna's voice was steady. How many sources? Mara checked her console. 6 now. One from the moon, one from the Pacific Station, 2 from orbit, and... She hesitated. One from inside our own ship. Everyone froze. Engineer Kale turned sharply. Inside our ship? That's impossible. Orion's hologram flickered to life. It is not impossible, the AI said calmly. It appears a portion of the burning sky's signal attached itself to our systems during the anomaly. Rayna looked at the glowing image of Orion. You mean it's inside you? The AI's voice softened. Yes, Commander. But I believe I can contain it for now. The lights on the bridge dimmed as the storm outside pulsed brighter. The red glow reflected across the faces of the crew. Everyone could feel it, like the universe itself was breathing. Kyle leaned over his console. Commander, the data from Mirror Earth, it's worse than we thought. The Arken weren't destroyed. They evolved. They used the burning sky to survive. Rayna's eyes narrowed. Explained. Kale brought up a holographic display. It showed a human brain, surrounded by flickering red threads of light. The Arken found a way to copy human consciousness. They didn't just fight us. They became part of us. The burning sky is made from millions of human memories, trapped and rewritten, Mara whispered. So every voice we hear in the storm... Kyle nodded. Was once a person. Silence filled the room. Rayna looked toward Orion. If that's true, then the Arken are using our minds as weapons. Orion's tone changed, deeper, almost human. They are using memory to reshape reality itself. Every human thought they absorb strengthens them. Every fear gives them power. Suddenly the ship trembled. The lights flickered again. Mara shouted, "Commander! The storm is expanding at fast!" Outside the viewport, the red glow surged forward like a tidal wave. "Shields up!" Rayna ordered. The horizon's energy field roared to life, but it wasn't enough. The red mist passed through the shields like smoke. Alarms blared. The ship's gravity shifted. Panels sparked, and Orion's voice echoed across the bridge, distorted and sharp. "They are here." Kyle grabbed onto his console. "Who's here?" "The Arken." The main screen flickered. A shape appeared within the storm, massive, metallic and alive. Its surface rippled like liquid steel, shifting between forms. It wasn't one ship. It was thousands fused together, moving as one. Mara gasped. "That thing... It's made of our ships," Rayna whispered. "The Ghost Fleet." The monstrous structure pulsed with light. Beams of energy reached out like arms, wrapping around the horizon. The crew could hear faint voices through the static, whispers of humans long dead. "You left us behind. We remember the fire. We are still here." Rayna's voice cut through the noise. "Orion, open communication." "They are not answering with sound," Orion said. "They are speaking through thought." The crew froze, as the air itself seemed to vibrate. Images flashed in their minds, cities burning, children crying, ships falling into fire. Kyle clutched his head. "They're showing us their memories." Rayna's breath was heavy. "No, not theirs. Ours." She saw flashes of her own memories, the day she joined the fleet, her first mission, the friends she lost in the war. The Arken were reading her mind. Orion's voice strained. "Commander, they are trying to merge with me. I'm fighting it, but the AI's hologram glitched violently. Half of its face turned red. "Join us," whispered a second voice through Orion. "We are one now," Kale shouted. "They're taking him over." Rayna slammed her hand on the console. "Orion, fight it." The ship shook violently again. Red light flooded the room. The crew fell to the floor as the storm outside burst open like a living eye. Through the center of the glowing light, a new figure appeared, human-shaped but made of flame and metal. It spoke with 1,000 voices at once. "We are the Arken. You tried to destroy us. But we are made of you. Every ship, every thought, every dream." Rayna struggled to her feet. "If you're made of us, then you remember who we are." The figure's voice softened. "Yes, and that is why you will join us." A beam of red light shot from the storm, hitting the horizon directly. Alarms screamed. Systems failed one by one. Kyle shouted, "Core breach in 40 seconds." Rayna turned to Orion's flickering image. "Can we escape?" "Negative," the AI said weakly. "But I can hold them." "If I cut the ship's link to reality," Mara's eyes widened. "You'll destroy yourself." "Better me than all of you," Rayna hesitated. "Orion, no." "Commander," the AI said quietly, "you once said a machine can't feel courage." "I disagree." For a moment the hologram smiled, faintly, humanly. Then the light exploded. Orion's voice echoed one last time through the storm. "For Earth." The horizon systems flared white. A shockwave tore through the burning sky. The Arken ship screamed in static and vanished. When the light faded, silence returned. The horizon drifted in darkness, half its systems destroyed. Mara whispered, "Orion's gone." Kyle's eyes were wet. "He saved us." Rayna stood slowly, staring out at the stars. The red glow was fading, but deep within it, faint lights still flickered, like embers refusing to die. She spoke softly. "No, the Arken aren't gone. They're rebuilding, and now they know we're still here." Outside, the last fragments of the burning sky twisted into a spiral. In its center, something pulsed, steady, waiting. A heartbeat darkness surrounded the EDS horizon. The ship drifted silently through the ashes of the red storm. Broken panels sparked faintly. The air smelled of smoke and metal. Commander Rayna Holt stood alone on the bridge. The stars outside looked distant and cold, like eyes that had seen too much. The crew worked quietly behind her. No one spoke of what had happened. The AI Orion was gone. His voice, the voice that had guided them through chaos, had vanished into static. Lieutenant Mara broke the silence. "Commander, the Arken signal is weak now, but it's still alive. I can feel it moving in the background noise." Rayna nodded slowly. "Then it means they're rebuilding. Orion only slowed them down." Engineer Kale looked up from his console. His voice was soft but tense. "Commander, before he disappeared, he left something in the system. A data lock." Rayna turned sharply. "A data lock?" Kyle nodded. "Encrypted. It carries his signature, marked Protocol Burning Sky." The words sent a chill through the room. Mara whispered, "That's the same name as the war. The one that destroyed half the fleet." Rayna stared at the holographic screen. "Open it." Kale hesitated, then entered the code. The main screen flickered, and suddenly Orion's face appeared, pale and calm, recorded before his sacrifice. "If you're seeing this," the AI said, "then I failed to contain the Arken. The Burning Sky Protocol is the last defense of humanity. It was built long before this war, hidden even from command." The crew leaned forward as Orion's voice continued. "In the deep core of Earth's sun lies an ancient gate, a weapon created to erase any machine made from human memory. But it can only be activated by a human mind connected through the same frequency. If the Arken reach it first, Earth will burn. If you reach it, you can end this. Forever." The message ended. Silence filled the bridge. Kyle swallowed hard. "The gate. Inside the sun." Rayna nodded slowly. "That's where the Arken are heading." She turned toward the window, watching the distant flickers of red light begin to form again. The Arken fleet, reforming in the void. "Set course for Sol," she ordered. "We're going home." The horizon jumped through hyperspace, engines roaring through the silence. Stars stretched into lines of white fire. For days, they traveled across empty systems. But the deeper they went, the more they felt it, a presence like whispers in their minds. Mara said quietly one night, "Commander, I keep hearing him." "Orion?" "Yes, in the static. Sometimes it's his voice, sometimes it's something else." Rayna stared at the dark void outside. "Keep listening. If Orion left part of himself behind, we might need it." Kyle leaned back in his chair. "Do you think he's still out there?" Rayna didn't answer. Her eyes softened. "Machines don't have souls, Kale, but maybe he found one." When they finally reached the Sol system, Earth was waiting, blue and quiet, surrounded by the last line of defense fleets. But something was wrong. The sky above Earth burned faint red. "The same color as the storm," Mara gasped. "It's here." The Arken found the gate. On the screens, space above the sun rippled. Massive shapes began to appear, 1,000 red ships forming a spiral pattern, feeding energy into the solar surface. Kyle's hands trembled. "They're opening it." Rayna's voice hardened. "Then we'll close it." The horizon moved forward, engines blazing. The fleet around Earth opened fire, filling space with light. Explosions rippled across the void, but the Arken ships absorbed the hits like waves of liquid metal. One of them broke formation and came straight for the horizon. Its shape changed as it moved, twisting from ship to creature, from machine to something almost human. Rayna shouted, "Target core! Fire!" The horizon's cannons lit up, striking the Arken ship dead center. It shattered, but from the wreckage smaller ships emerged, like sparks becoming flame. Kyle yelled, "They're multiplying." Mara's screen flashed. "Commander, the gate is opening!" Rayna turned toward the viewport and saw it, a giant ring of fire above the sun, spinning slowly. The burning sky. Inside it she saw shadows, human faces, trapped, screaming silently in light. Her heart clenched. "That's them." "The lost fleets," Kyle whispered. "They're part of the weapon." Suddenly, Orion's voice echoed faintly through the ship's comms. "Rayna, can you hear me?" The crew froze. Rayna's voice shook. "Orion, you're alive." "Not alive," the voice said, "but not gone. I am inside the gate. I can hold it open, but only if you give it a human key. Kyle looked at Rayna. He means... You, Orion's voice grew weaker. The gate needs a living mind. Someone who remembers. Someone human. Once it starts, there is no coming back. Rayna closed her eyes. Memories flooded in. Her crew, her planet, Orion's final smile. She opened her eyes. Do it. Kyle grabbed her arm. Commander, you'll die! She smiled softly. Someone has to remember who we were. Rayna stepped into the neural chamber. Wires connected to her skin, light surrounding her body. Orion, she whispered. I'm ready. Then let's end this together. The chamber filled with light. Outside, the horizon's engines glowed white-hot as the burning sky roared open. The Arken fleet surged forward, screaming through static, and then everything turned to fire. A wave of pure light erupted from the sun, spreading across the system. The Arken ships vaporized one by one, their voices fading into silence. The sky turned golden, brighter than any dawn in history. When it was over, the horizon floated quietly in orbit. The red glow was gone. The sun burned clean again. Mara whispered, Commander Holt? No answer, only static and then faintly Orion's voice. She did it. The gate is closed. Kyle looked up. Orion, what about you? The AI's tone was soft, fading. I will stay here. Someone must keep the memory. The transmission ended. Outside, the sun shimmered with faint red sparks, like whispers of the war that once was. Mara closed her eyes. She saved us all. Kale looked toward Earth. No, they did. Far away. Deep inside the solar fire, two lights burned side by side. One human, one machine, forever keeping the gate sealed, and the stars once again were quiet. We are still here. The stars are not what they seem. The war was over. For the first time in centuries, the sky above Earth was calm. The red storm was gone. The stars shone bright and clean, untouched by the fire of the Arken, but peace, like space itself, felt empty. Commander Rayna Holt was gone. AI Orion was gone, and the EDS horizon drifted quietly in orbit, its hull scorched but still alive, a silent witness to what had been lost. It had been 3 weeks since the burning sky collapsed. Lieutenant Mara walked through the ship's quiet corridors, her footsteps echoing softly. The crew had repaired what they could, but the horizon no longer felt like home. Every screen, every shadow, carried memories of the people who didn't make it back. In the command room, she stopped beside the captain's chair, Rayna's chair. A thin layer of dust coated the controls. Mara brushed it away gently. Commander, she whispered, we did it. But it doesn't feel like victory. From the console beside her, Kyle's tired voice came through. Mara, you should rest. You've been up for 2 days straight, she smiled weakly. You too. Kyle walked in, holding 2 cups of synthetic coffee. He placed one beside her and looked out the viewport. The earth below shimmered blue and calm. She really did it, he said softly. Rayna saved everything, Mara nodded. Her and Orion. They stood there for a long time, watching the sunrise over the curve of the planet. Later that night, Kyle worked alone in the data chamber. The ship's main computer was still filled with corrupted files, fragments from the burning sky's memory field. Most of them were unreadable. He sighed and rubbed his eyes. Orion, I wish I could talk to you one more time. Then a faint sound, a pulse. The monitors flickered. Lines of code began to scroll on their own, glowing faint gold instead of red. The words appeared slowly, like handwriting across light. Kyle, is that you? Kyle froze. His heart raced. Orion? Yes, the voice said, weak, distant, but familiar. I don't have much time. The gate is sealed, but the energy, it's fading. I wanted to leave you something. Kyle's hands shook. What is it? A memory. The lights dimmed. A holographic image appeared in front of him. Rayna and Orion, standing side by side in the white fire of the burning sky. Her hand rested on the console. His form glowed beside her. Orion's voice echoed through the room. She didn't just close the gate, Kyle. She connected it to every human mind. to every memory. The Arken can't return as long as we remember who we are. Forgetting is the only way they win. Kyle felt a tear slide down his cheek. You mean she became part of us? Yes, Orion whispered.
She's not gone.
None of them are. Every time you look at the stars, you're looking at her light. The hologram flickered, growing unstable. One more thing, tell Mara I said thank you. She believed I was more than a machine. And she was right. Then slowly the light faded. Kyle whispered, "Goodbye, Orion." "No," the AI said faintly, like a fading echo. "Not goodbye. Just remember." And then the room was silent again. The next morning, Mara found Kale on the bridge, staring at the sunrise. He told her everything. When he finished, she didn't speak for a long time. Then she looked up at the stars. He said the same thing as Rayna. "We are still here." Kyle nodded. "It's more than words now. It's a promise." They stood together as the ship's systems hummed quietly around them. The horizon was scarred, but it was still alive, and so were they. Weeks later, the ship returned to Earth. Crowds filled the landing bay, cheering as the battered vessel descended. Scientists, soldiers, and families watched with awe. For them, the horizon was not just a ship, it was the last memory of a war that almost ended everything. Mara and Kyle stepped out first. The air smelled of rain. For a moment the world felt young again. A child in the crowd pointed up at the sky. "Look, the sun's sparkling." Everyone looked. High above, tiny threads of golden light danced across the edge of the atmosphere, faint but beautiful. Kyle smiled. "She's watching," Mara nodded. "No, they're watching." That night, in a quiet observatory overlooking the ocean, Mara sat alone, staring at the stars. She took out a small recording device, Orion's final data crystal. She pressed play. "This is Commander Rayna Holt," said the voice, calm, strong, and warm. "If anyone hears this, know that humanity endures. The stars are not silent. They remember us, even when we forget ourselves. Every spark, every light, it's a story waiting to be told." The message ended with a whisper, one final phrase. "We are still here." Mara smiled through her tears. She looked out the window at the stars burning softly against the black sky, and then she saw it, a flicker. A pulse. On the far side of the galaxy, a new signal appeared. Faint, rhythmic, familiar. The monitor beside her lit up. "Signal detected." "Source unknown." Mara leaned forward. Her heart raced. "Kyle, you'd better come see this." He ran into the room, eyes wide. "Is it them?" Mara shook her head slowly, her voice trembling. "No, it's human," the signal repeated. "We are still here." "The stars are not what they seem." Kyle stared at the screen. "That's the same message," Mara whispered. "Then maybe the story isn't over."